Oregon State still trying to find a conference. Damian Lillard still trying to get to the East Coast. And a bunch of other stuff is going on in the Pacific Northwest that we will talk about here on the Sports by Northwest podcast. Hello, I am Aaron Fentress. I'm joined, as always, by Brenna Greene. Brenna, we took last week off primarily because we were both busy. I was busy late in the week taking my daughter down to Oregon for basically a preview spectacular extravaganza. 2 days of seminars for the parents, learning all about Oregon. And so, yeah, I'm gonna have a duck child, which is, it's kind of funny, interesting.
Does that feel a little full circle for you?
I mean, I got recognized by a few people down there. 2 were really cool. 1 actually worked there, and she gave me a little bit of crap. She said she saw me walk into one of the seminars. She's like, I can't believe it. I'm like, what? She goes, I know who you are. And I go, oh, okay. How you doing? She goes, I'm fine. You have a kid coming here? I go, yeah, my daughter. And she says, well, at least she has good taste.
Yo!
Wow!
Yes!
I was like, no, she didn't. But she said it with a smile and she laughed. And I'm like,
I gotta be friends with this woman. That's my vibe right there.
But I'm like, what's that supposed to mean? I don't hate Oregon. I've never been anti-Oregon. It's one of the biggest misconceptions in me. Virtually every major thing that program has done in football and basketball, I literally predicted like years in advance. I've been Nostradamus on that freaking beat. And so to say I'm a hater is ridiculous. But anyway, whatever. I don't care. The coaches don't hate me. The ex-players don't hate me. Ex-parents don't hate me. Fans want to hate me. And some of them, that's fine. But anyway, she made a little dig. That was okay. A few others I talked to were very, very nice. But anyway, so we didn't have a show last week. We're back this week. The 2 biggest stories still in the state right now. Oregon State, what's going to happen with them. And then, of course, Lillard. Let's start with the Beavers. Brenna, break down real quick where things are and then give me your initial take on where you think things should go for the Beavers, who, regardless of whether the Ducks sort of kind of had to make the move since everyone else was, Oregon State still getting jacked in this whole thing with the beautiful facilities, brand spanking new remodeled stadium, and they're getting left out in the cold. What's going on, Brad?
There's not much, and that's a real problem. Scott Barnes spoke on several different shows last week and said that he expected there to be some news soon, and he made it sound like very soon. Well, haven't heard anything yet. Cal and Stanford are still doing their ACC dance. And that really doesn't work for everybody involved here because this dance, the song has run out. Okay. You got to make a decision because now you have these 2 other schools who don't really know what to do, where to go. Rebuilding the Pac-12 is not as easy as you think it is. I think I said this on the last pod. If you want to try to get some teams from the Mountain West, it is going to be a $34 million exit fee to get them in by next season. It will be $17 million if it's in 2 years. Most schools in the Mountain West don't have $17 million. The vast majority of schools do not. I would venture to say all of them don't have 34. So this is... this is not as easy as you think it is. And the more that time ticks down, the more of a precarious situation everyone is in. And the more that OSU and WSU wait on Cal and Stanford, the worse position they get put in. Unfortunately, there's just not a lot of good options right now for them, and I understand why they kind of have to sit and wait because their best option is to be with Cal and Stanford, and so they're kind of sitting ducks.
Yeah.
What a pun. But yeah, this is there's got to be moves made in soon. This can't, at this point we've done our processing, but it's time to actually have action. And
so can't the Mountain West and Pac-4 merge somehow and call themselves the Pac-West? The Pac-West 15 or 16, whatever. It's just
there's a lot of questions about debt. How do you divvy up like NCAA tournament money? Because you know how you get money for each school who makes the tournament and how far they go in the tournament.
Right.
There's some questions about all that money that the Pac-12 owes Comcast. It's a pretty hefty chunk. I believe it's like 80 million or something like that. I got to look that up to make sure. But so that's not good.
80 million?
It's a lot. The amount that those Pac-12 not officials, executives were were keeping was not good. Okay, the 50 million cited, let's see here. The 50 million figure cited in the Pac-12 timeline of events is based on 5 million in annual overpayments from the first year of Comcast's distribution agreement with the Pac-12 networks through the fiscal year that ended before the mistake was discovered. So that's okay. 50 million, excuse me. They own Comcast 50 million. That's a lot of money. So this is, I understand why it's taking a long time to move, but at the same point in time, like, this is, the longer you wait, the more precarious of a position that you're put in.
So I think if Stanford and Cal go to the ACC, I think they're going to regret that. I think ultimately they're going to regret that. That doesn't seem tenable to me. Oregon State going to the ACC, same thing. Big 12 makes the most sense to me by far, especially if you go with Washington State. All four should just go, but Big 12 doesn't want any more teams, let alone all four.
They don't want 20 teams in the Big 12.
I wish there were like a governing body that like had some kind of pull and could maybe force conferences to accept existing Power 5 teams, regardless of who moves where, and just say, okay, well, if this is happening, then these teams have to go there. I know it's more complicated than that, but it's just completely ridiculous to me that this is happening to those four programs, regardless of their success in football. It's been up and down. We get that, but that's how conferences are. You're going to have teams that are up and down. Everyone can't be at top. And plus, those programs, those schools have had other programs that have been, national champions. I don't know. Well, I don't know if Washington State has, but they've had teams in other sports be successful. Oregon State, obviously, baseball, women's basketball. Yep. What did Washington State have?
I was saying Washington State won the Pac-12 women's basketball tournament last year.
There you go.
Like, Stanford didn't win it. WSU did.
That's right. You're right. I forgot about that. So, to make it all about football is, it's sad to me, but I get that financially that's sort of where things go. But it just, you shouldn't be able to just leave your brethren out in the cold like this and just bail and run around to other conferences. It's just unseemly, but we all know college football is extremely unseemly. So it just is par for the course. And it's one of the reasons why I can't stand college football. I like football, but I can't stand college football.
It's not leaving them out in the cold. It's leaving them in sub-zero temperatures. It's a rough scene out there.
It's so horrible. So what's your ultimate prediction there? What do you think is going to happen?
I think ultimately OSU and WSU don't have any other choice other than to go to the Mountain West.
Right.
I think that's ultimately what happens. I have no idea what things. I think ultimately the Pac-12 ends up disbanding. I'm very interested to see what happens with. I know that there's like emergency funds, things like that. What happens with the payments from the NCAA tournament? There's a lot of really fascinating financial questions involved here, and we totally got into this because of the financial questions when we decided to cover sports, but
exactly.
But it really is gonna be really interesting to see how this all plays out. Do the teams that didn't leave the conference somehow end up because those payments go to the conference, they don't go to the schools, they go to the conference.
Right.
So do those schools that ended up holding out till the end, do they end up collecting all the booty per se?
The booty.
Yeah. So there's we'll see. I mean, somehow maybe the Pac-12 does survive. Another thing that was very interesting is that Barnes said on John Canzano's show that George Kliavkoff is not involved right now in any sort of discussions. So that's something.
They kicked him to the curb.
I
Do you think Barnes could leave for UW? We're gonna talk about UW in a little bit. AD
Yeah.
job open. AD job is open.
Yeah, you never know.
That'd be
You know,
crazy if
my
he go.
thought was, what if Pat Chun leaves WSU for UW? That now you want to watch a
Hey,
fan base light themselves on fire. That would be
everyone involved is gonna be looking for an escape door.
uh-huh.
But
Yes.
at every level.
Yeah.
So be prepared, Oregon State
Yes.
and Washington State. All right,
Yeah.
Damian Lillard. No new news on his front. Just talked to a source over the weekend who says that the Blazers in Miami have still not had talks, which is whatever, hilarious. I mean, we have 6 weeks till camp, I think. So you still got 6 weeks to figure things out, but still no talks there. Damian Lillard released a new album on Friday called Don Dalla. The previous Sunday, he had a show at the Roseland Theater, which I attended and wrote about, talked to a few super fans. Brenna, I was there for 4 hours.
4 hours.
So the doors are supposed to open at 6. I got there right about 6:15. They didn't open the doors till like 6:40, so I stood in line outside in the heat, not happy. Got in. I don't think the show started till 7:30, 7:45 maybe. I got some food though because I was starving. By the way, Roseland Theater, their chicken basket with fries, it took forever. I was like, how long does it take to? They did it like that. Those were the best chicken strips I've ever had in my life. They didn't just take something out of the freezer and throw it in. Like they were really, really good. So props to them. Props to them. Absolute money. Anyway, so I was there for hours. Now it was a listening party. And so I thought, and some fans I talked to thought that meant they were just going to play the album, but we all knew there were going to be some other performers there. So Damian would maybe do a couple of songs, and these other performers will all do a couple of songs. Damian ended up pretty much doing almost his entire new album, which shocked some people. He was on stage forever. It was pretty interesting to watch how fans related to him as a rapper on stage. And for those I talked to, like they're like they're big fans of him as a player. They like his music too. They like him. So just being able to be that close to him and shake his hand, and some got autographs and things like that, was just very exciting for a lot of them. The rappers who came out, I didn't know any of them other than Bow Wow. Everyone knows Bow Wow, formerly Little Bow Wow.
Heck yeah.
He was clear, like it was clear that this guy had hits, went on tour with Snoop or whatever, performed in front of packed arenas. And he just was clearly a touch above pretty much everyone there. Like it was almost blatantly obvious. Now I'm not trying to act like I'm some kind of rap expert. I am not. I do like some rap. Some rap just makes me roll my eyes. I don't want to listen to it, but he clearly was excellent. Dame actually, Dame is definitely good. He's not obviously up there with the elites, but he's someone who clearly works on his craft and is definitely solid. And the fans were totally into it. But it was long and it was loud.
Old man yelled.
It was long and it was loud. He did see me in the crowd. He acknowledged me. But yeah, it was entertaining. But I kept looking at my clock at the time, like, when's this thing gonna end, man? And I was mad I didn't bring my earplugs.
Well, I saw a picture of the concert, and let me tell you, you could spot Aaron Fentress.
You saw me in the photo?
Yeah. You could. You looked a little bit different. Like it was like the easiest game of Where's Waldo of all time.
Who's the bald middle-aged dude with glasses standing over there? Oh, that's Fentress. Did I look out of place?
I mean, I don't want to hate.
Did it seem like I was like
Did you feel out of place?
Did I seem like I was a chaperone at one of your school dances at Jesuit? Just
I wouldn't wish that on anyone.
making sure there are no kids making out in the corner or alcohol. at the Dame
Oh
Dollar
man.
show.
I'm having flashbacks to high school right now, and
Oh my god, it was
let's
so
put it
funny.
this way: the chaperones had to break up some dancing going on a lot in high school. That was their main their main thing there that they had to deal with. That was a good time. Um,
Oh my god, it was so funny. Yeah, I definitely felt out of place. There was one dude who was definitely my age or older who was front and center near the stage and just completely into it. Like it was wild. He wore a straw hat and a Lillard jersey, and he was absolutely 100% into it. So I
heck
wasn't.
yeah.
Um, so power to him. But yeah, mostly everyone else were definitely 20s, 30s. But anyway, it was interesting. It was just interesting to see so many people relating to him in a different setting like that. Uh, and I spoke to this woman named Mika Tyler. Who have you ever met her?
No.
She's a super fan. So she's always at every game, and before the game, she's along the railing where the visiting team enters, and she tries to get autographs. She has like an autograph collection going, and she has all the Blazers. Mm-hmm. She gets the Blazers too, but she tries to get the incoming people.
Yeah,
but she has over 200 pairs of Lillard shoes. Basically, wow. She buys virtually every colorway that comes out every year, and she wears them. She wears them with whatever outfit, so she can match any outfit she throws on. But she got there at 4:30. She was first in line. She stood there for 2 hours in 90 plus heat. She got in and she got right front center. And Lillard saw her and acknowledged her. He's like, "Hey, this no one supports me as much as her. I think she has every jersey, every pair of shoes, or whatever." So that was a big thrill for her. She was very excited because I mean she's met Dame before, but for Dame to point her out like that, she thought that was really cool and awesome. And
well, that is cool. I mean, that's cool. That speaks to the connection that he has here.
Yeah,
you know, it truly does. You know, how many other NBA superstars are shouting out a fan in the audience saying, "Hey, right. I think you have all my stuff." Like that's so that just once again shows how genuine of connection he has with this community and
exactly. I talked to a couple guys named Jake and Nate, and they were like, so they joked during their 20s. They joked about how they each respectively took their wives to see Taylor Swift, and how this was their Taylor Swift moment, but they thought it was way better because while the concerts for Taylor Swift were in these massive stadiums,
yeah,
they were right up and close and personal with their hero, and they love his music, they love him, and you know they were just right there seeing him. They thought it was amazing. And then Jake came up to me, he recognized me, came up to talk to me, and then I thought, well, I should get their phone number so I can interview them later. And then I did. And then later on in the show, I had crept further and further closer to the stage. And then they ended up to the left of me. And someone else was rapping, and Dame was just standing like right in front of us. Mm-hmm. And they yelled out, "Dame, can you sign my hat?" And they motioned for them to throw them the hat. And I think Nate threw his hat first. And Dame caught it, and he threw him a pen. And he signed it and tossed it back. And Nate was like, "Oh my God, this is the greatest night of my life." and then Jake got his sign too. And they were just like beyond excited and happy. Like it was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe this night is amazing." And they said they were like texting their wives about what was going on. Their wives were teasing them and stuff about how they were acting like little kids. And they absolutely were. And they had a lot of fun. But that's sort of like the atmosphere, what it was like. Because these are fans of Lillard first and foremost because he's a basketball player. But they appreciate his art, appreciate his music, and this was a chance for them to get really, really close to him, which you really can't do as well in a basketball game. So it was interesting. That said, he didn't talk at all about the situation that's going on. Some fan at one point yelled out "F Miami," and Dame was like, "Oh, we're not going to go there." So it was all just about music, hardly any of it. He made one comment about how like he was sweating like he was at a Blazers game. Why he wore a hoodie sweatshirt with matching shorts, I don't know. Gonna be on stage, you're gonna be hot, but you know, I guess he didn't think that was gonna be a thing. Anyway, here I am criticizing his wardrobe, but no, it was a pretty cool event.
But like I saw the little minor kerfuffle over somebody thinking that he
Oh
said something
yeah, someone
different.
tweeted that he thought he said he was sweating like a
Blazers
fan.
fan.
Right, and I tweeted at that person.
Yep, I saw.
Didn't he say? Didn't no? Twice. The first one was like, I think he said Blazers game.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the person saw that or not, but someone else backed me up on that, and the person left it up.
Yep.
And it got like 500,000 views, so she was getting traction with it. And then Dame called her out.
Yep.
And said, "This is irresponsible." And then I quote tweeted that and said, "That's not what he said. He said this." And then later she finally deleted. My thing was, if it, I don't know, maybe she didn't see what I posted, what other people posted. But if you see that people are saying, "No, that's not what he said," you should probably delete it quick, not think, "Oh, I'm getting all this traction with this," and wait for Dame to call you out. Now, people then attacked her, which I thought was wrong. She, it's an honest mistake. It's tough to hear sometimes exactly what someone's saying.
I can understand how you can hear fan instead of game.
Right. Anyway, so unfortunate deal there.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I guess the last thing, we got 6 weeks. Do you expect Damian Lillard to be in training camp?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
So ridiculous. Okay. So
I need you to know something.
I'm not saying you're ridiculous. I'm saying it would be ridiculous.
No. I get that. So here's how I know this is all going down. Now how this is going to go down, because this is my life and this is how this works. Okay. I will be there the day of media day.
Right.
I am then getting on a plane that night and flying to England for a trip. Damian Lillard will absolutely be traded while I'm on that trip. That is going to happen. That is how this is going to go down. So congratulations, Blazers fans. We can look back on this in about, I don't know what, a month and a half. And when he gets traded during those 9 days that I'm gone or whatever, I can say, hello, you're welcome, thank you. So that's how this is going to go down. There you have it.
So you're not going to training camp?
No. No, I'm not going to Santa Barbara. I'm going
okay, so
the pond.
if they bring Lillard to camp and then trade him during camp, fine. Yeah. If there's some method behind that madness, whatever. Mm. But if they bring him and they're planning on holding on to him and playing him and seeing what they can get by the trade deadline, to me that's just goofy. It doesn't make any sense. I don't think Dame's going to give 100% because he won't want to be there and he won't want to get hurt. And if the Blazers shouldn't want him to get hurt, because then you really can't trade him.
Yeah.
And what are you going to get for a hurt Damian Lillard? What are you going to get for a 34-year-old? You think you're going to get the same of what's on the table right now with Miami when he's 34 after an injury? Or even if he plays the whole season? I mean, it's just, the whole thing is just lunacy at this point. So hopefully the Blazers have a plan and they're trying to figure things out and bring in a third team and try and maximize and squeeze as much as they can out of this before training camp. If that's the case, more power to them. Do what you gotta do. But if they try and play him this year, I've seen some people playing, well, they can suck with him and still get a lottery pick, or still, it's just at some point you just have to just.
Also, I just would like to say that the draft this year is extreme. The upcoming draft class is weak.
Allegedly, sometimes weak. People said the class 2 years ago was weak. No, that's not that great of a class. You got Chet, Pablo, Sharp, Mathurin. Duran looks pretty solid. Jabari Smith is going to be pretty good. I made $100 bet with some guy who said there wouldn't be one All-Star in this draft class. I'm like, you're drunk. So maybe it's not as good as this year or whatever. But there's going to be people who are going to emerge, etc. So if you get into the top 5, which I think is exactly where they're going to be if they don't have Dame, then I think they can get a pretty good player and hopefully one over 6'6". But we'll see.
We shall see.
The Sports by Northwest podcast is supported by the Grand Prix of Portland, coming September 1, 2, and 3 to Portland International Raceway. So let's move on to something a little more local at the high school level, actually.
Yeah.
Ryan Krauser?
Yes.
Out of Barlow High School, who's already the owner of the world record in the shot put, just set the record at the World Athletic Championships, doing so with 2 blood clots in his leg. So you use your legs a lot in the shot put.
Really?
That's how you get. That's how you get some of your oomph, and you're jumping as you throw it, and you're getting that power from the glutes. So yeah, that's pretty impressive.
No hyperbole.
Yeah.
He is the best athlete from here right now. And I did a whole thing last night on our half-hour sports show. It's like a minute thing, basically about how he is not getting the flowers he deserves locally.
He's better than Herbert?
Is Herbert setting world records and creating his own?
It's the shot put, though.
Also, Herbert is from Eugene. He isn't from the Portland area.
Oh, you didn't mean the state. You didn't mean the state. You meant.
I mean, but that's semantics. Whatever. I still think what he's doing is more impressive because also this year he created his own technique for shot put, and that is what is powering him to throw. Beat his own world records, by the way. He beat his own world record. In the
World Championships, he did.
So, not in the World Championships. His world record that he set was earlier this year in LA.
And that had beaten his old world record.
So he's on.
Okay, so he set a world record, then he goes out in the World Championships. He doesn't break his own world record, but he sets the record in that meet, and he does so with.
And he was 0.05 meters away from tying his world record, so it's not like he was that far away. It was when the throw came off, it looked like he was right there to beat it. It was like, oh, did he just beat that? Also, he won. He wore a cowboy hat when he won his gold medal, which I just adore and love. So. There he was in Budapest with a cowboy hat and his gold medal. It's incredible. He better wear that in Paris next year. So yeah, anyways, I just don't feel like enough people are talking about him. I mean, he's already an Olympic gold medalist. This is crazy what he's doing. He's doing things that no other human being has literally ever done. And he's doing it with 2 blood clots in his leg and creating his own technique. And I mean, Aaron, you've been around here a while, track and field wise, is there anybody else that kind of registers on this level for you? I'm sure there is, but.
From the Portland area?
Yeah.
We need Ken Go on the show for that. No one jumps to the forefront of my mind. Yeah.
I mean,
I'm sure there are. I'm just not the right person to ask.
Yeah, I understand that, but I mean, they're just it's not every day somebody from around here is setting world records.
Yeah.
And, throwing a throw 0.05 meters off of his world record with 2 blood clots in his leg. So, I hope that he becomes a more prominent name around here over the next year because I think he deserves it. And I know that, it's shot put. Okay. I get it. I get that this isn't, it's not the 100 meters. Okay. That's just what it is. I totally understand that. But I just feel like he deserves to be celebrated a little bit more. That's just my own personal belief. So,
okay. What about Ashton Eaton?
Okay. Ashton Eaton's pretty, yeah.
From Portland. He, two-time Olympic champion who holds the world record in the indoor heptathlon.
It's close. It's close.
That's doing multiple stuff.
Yep. No, I agree with you.
Olympic Games, he got 2 golds, 2 world championship golds, 3 indoor championship golds, 7 golds, 1 second place. He doesn't mess around bronze. He ain't got no time for bronze. So I don't know. I gotta go with Ashton Eaton. What high school did he go to?
I thought he went to high school in Bend.
It says he was born in Portland, so maybe. It says born Portland, so that counts.
That counts.
His mother relocated to Bend later, where he went to Mountain View.
There we go.
So maybe we have a technical problem there, but I'm counting. Anyway, again, I don't. I should text Ken Go. Ken Go give me a list of 15 people. He was the track guru in the state.
Oh yes.
But regardless, what you're saying, whether it's the or one of the, it's still amazing. And if not for the clots, he probably breaks his own record.
Yeah.
Right. That had to have cost him a meter.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, he was. I mean, the reason they figured out that he had he had this problem. I mean, because he was having calf soreness and he wasn't able to train. So there's no way that he was at 100%
Right.
throwing. There's no way. So
Nice.
looking forward to Paris next year, to say the least. It's not Paris, but I guess another city that's hosting an Olympics soon. UW's AD Jen Cohen is out. She's going to USC, baby. 24 years at UW, within UW's athletic department. She's been the AD since this would have been her 7th year as the AD at UW. You know, I'll give them this. The Pac-12 is going to give content until the bitter end. Okay. I personally, it's been well documented that one of the reasons why UW felt the need that they needed to make this jump to the Big Ten is that they aren't in the greatest financial position right now. Mm-hmm. So this is not super surprising to me that somebody's headed to USC. It is, I bet, but after 24 years in athletic department, like that's definitely an interesting place to head off to after 24 years in an athletic department. By the way, end up staying in the same conference. What are your thoughts about her leaving?
I don't know. UW fans have cracked on Oregon for losing coaches, so maybe UO fans could crack on UW for their AD bailing for USC within the conference, even though all those teams are going to the same conference, the Big Ten. So I guess for Duck fans, they could poke a little fun at it. But there's always something bigger for everybody, and it's just an example that USC is a bigger deal than UW and Oregon, for that matter. Mm-hmm. And one place is having some financial troubles, as you said, whereas USC maybe not so much. So, it's just a step up in that world. But she put in 24 years at UW. This is another opportunity for her. So more power to her, and UW will hire someone else. I said earlier in the show, do they go after someone like Barnes? That'd be interesting if they believe what Barnes has done at Oregon State is worthy of a jump up to UW. Then you seek him out, and I think Barnes would bail in a nanosecond. He'd be crazy not to, given all that's going on. But I'm sure there'll be tons of other good candidates interested in that job. But I don't have any earth-shattering opinions on this other than can't really blame her.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier, what I know that the Ohio State athletic director job is going to be open, and Pat Shun, WSU's AD, as an Ohio State alum, and one of the reasons that kind of the wisp, I think this was actually publicized. One of the reasons why he didn't get, I believe it was the Northwest AD job, is that they were concerned he was going to bolt for Ohio State if that job came open. So now the Ohio State athletic director is officially retiring, I believe, after this season. So that's something that's of interest, but I wouldn't be surprised if UW tried to go after him for that job too, which would, if that were to happen, and who knows if he has any interest in that whatsoever, but if that were to happen, would set an absolute firestorm on WSU Twitter. So, you can't help but have the thought pass through your mind as you see a job opening. All right, who would get this? Who would bite at this? And yeah, I think those two. It's funny that we're talking about these two ADs that are definitely in like the worst spot right now in the Pac-12 landscape, and yet they're two of like the best ADs in the conference right now with what they've done with their resources. They really are, and yet here we are. So yeah, it's and WSU's in a worse financial spot than OSU right now, but yeah, it'll be that is going to be a fascinating job to watch play out. My attention's like, all right, okay, USC, whatever, UW, what's that going to look like? I can't wait to watch. So that's the next drams right there. It's the next thing I am interested in.
All right.
And finally, we don't talk a lot of soccer on this podcast. It's not.
One of us is soccer illiterate, so.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. I wouldn't claim. The story goes. This is not going to win me any fans, but it is kind of funny. The story goes that my mom asked me when I was little if I wanted to go and play soccer, like if I wanted to be on a soccer team, and I looked at her and I don't remember saying this, but I said, "Mom, why would I want to go out on a rainy field and get all muddy and sweaty and run around with a bunch of girls?" Like, I mean, it's not awful logic. As a kid, my sports were indoors.
Yours, yeah.
No elements involved. Thank you very much. But last night was a truly fascinating one for the Timbers and Thorns. Timbers lose 5-0 to Houston. They're down 4-0 at half. The game started at 5:30. My sportscast was about 5:48-ish. That's when I normally hit around in the show. I walked up from my sportscast. My sports producer looks at me and he goes, "Well, you missed 3 goals." I was like, "What?
Wait, what? Combined? What? Oh no, by one team.
By one team. Meanwhile, the Thorns, one of their players, got a red card 18 minutes into the game. So they played with 10 players the rest of the game against the number 1 team in the NWSL, and they came out and won. So these are 2 teams that are just on completely different paths right now. I know that you aren't a huge soccer fan, but I do know that, I think you're well aware that the Timbers have a strong legacy around here. Just kind of, what is it like for you to see the kind of state that they're in right now? Because the last 2 years have just been, it hasn't been pretty.
I think you used the term unacceptable before we started this show, right? Because they've been so good and they've won championships, but these things happen.
Yeah, you're right.
You're gonna have downswings in sports. It's just a part of life. Not everyone can be Alabama who cheats, so it's just what it is.
That's a little aside there.
And so you just gotta figure things out and retool things, and get yourself back on track. But right now, it looks like they're not even gonna make the playoffs. Right, top 9 make it. This is like NBA-esque here.
Yeah.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and they're 12th.
They're 12th. Yeah, they're 12th.
They're 12th, but they're only 6 points out of 9th, 7th out of 7th. So they're how many games are left?
The clock's starting to tick now for sure.
So they got to crank it up, but they're clearly not good enough to probably go on such a run that they would need to get back in. And so, this will be 2 years in a row out of the playoffs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
let's see. We've got 10 games left, so it's possible.
Yeah, but if they had, but it doesn't look like. I mean, who knows? Teams can get hot, so they're not out.
I just hope that more people end up paying attention to this Thorns team because it is the best team in Portland right now.
So they beat the previous top team, and now they're in first place.
Yes.
Now they're running this thing.
And there were some pains during the World Cup because they didn't have obviously a lot of their best players, and so there were some ups and downs. But one of their forwards who wasn't playing that much before the World Cup. I mean, she was playing a little bit, but she started starting because obviously you have Sophia Smith and Christine Sinclair gone. She scored one of the goals last night, and all of a sudden, now they have like this solid third option coming off the bench. That's just like, I mean, she's going to eventually probably end up coming off the bench again. That is just unreal. Her name's Hannah Bedford, and yeah, she's just the last month has been like transformational, I think, for her. So, yeah, I really think that, this is, there's no question. This is the best professional team in Portland right now. And I just hope that more and more people start paying attention because, I mean, they're reigning NWSL champions. They are dominating people. They just won a game with 10 players. It's the first time in NWSL history that a team has won a game when they got a red card in the first half.
Really?
First time. Yep. First time that a team has played with 10 players for the majority of the game and won. That's how good they are right now.
They're stacked. Loaded.
So, yeah, I just, you know, I'm gonna get on my I'm getting on my pulpit for the second time this podcast saying, please, more people. You know, people do pay attention. I'm not saying people don't pay attention. I think people do. And I think that Sophia Smith, it's only a matter of time before, you know, she unfortunately didn't quite become the household name that I think everybody expected during this World Cup. Not totally her fault. That's what happens when your team loses in the round that they did. But I think that, you know, as her star ascends, that's going to really help this team. And I think everybody kind of thought it was going to be now, and it's not quite now because of how everything went down. But I think that she is. I just like, I want people to care more. Care more, okay? But yeah,
we'll just have to do some weekly updates on this squad. Then.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're crushing it. So
Are they winning it again? Are they that good?
Yeah.
You calling it? They're going back to back? This would be, they won one in a row, right? They won one in a row, but they won the last one, but not the year before that. I have no clue. Not even gonna lie.
I don't think anybody has ever won back-to-back NWSL championships. I think
well, there we go.
I mean, the league's pretty young. But that would definitely be a feather in their cap, to say the least. Let's see, NWSL champion.
So they're giving out 1.4 goals per game. That's pretty good. Even I know that's good.
You know that's good. Oh, and their goalie's local.
You only need 2 a game to win, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Their goalie was a Rex Button alum, so
right foot goals, left foot goals.
Yeah, that's a little, you know, that gets a little in the weeds there.
2 headers, shots on target, 121, goal scores 36.
Yeah. Oh, wait, never mind. Okay, the NC Courage won back-to-back titles in 2018 and 2019.
Okay.
So you have.
So they'd be the second.
Yes. They would be the second team to do that. And FC Kansas City did it in 2014, 2015. I'm sorry, y'all. My NWSL historical knowledge is not, you know, 100% up to date, but
it's lacking.
The Thorns have never won back-to-back championships. So, but they've
got the Washington Spirit coming up.
Yes.
On the 27th. Ooh. Mm-hmm. They're 6-3-7.
But still, the Thorns, they have won 3 championships and no one else in the league has, so they have that.
They have 3?
Yep, they have 3.
It's like, I just have no clue. I have zero soccer. I covered UAP women's soccer for 2 years.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And I would sit there and look stuff up and study it and you know, learn as much as I could so I didn't sound completely ridiculous. And then I can't remember who the coach was at the time, but like midway through the season, he thanked me for clearly, you know, working to do a good job, and he said that the players had commented on how good of a job they thought I was doing covering them, and I was like, really?
Great.
Seriously? Okay. He's like, yeah, you're paying attention, you know what's going on, you're breaking things down. I go, you know, I told him before the season, I go, oh, no jack about soccer. He says, well, I mean, you're not giving deep insight into the X's and O's of it, but you're covering it, and we appreciate that. And I was like, well, awesome. That's all I needed to hear. I feel good now because I was still like trying to figure things out. So someone scored a goal from the right side of the penalty box, and I wanted to say where they scored the goal from, so I called up dimensions of a soccer field to see what that box was called. It's called the penalty box.
There you
I
go.
was like, yes, all right. I was trying to learn. Offside still messes with me. I still
offsides messes with me too. I'm not.
so that's my soccer experience, and then a few prep things here and there. But that was 12, 13 years ago. I even traveled with them. They played a playoff game down at UCLA. I went and covered that. This was shortly after. I think I covered. I think that was the year after Rapinoe, because she was there right the late 2000, like 8, 9, 10, wasn't she? 7, 8, 9. Is that right? I think I just missed her. Anyway, so good for the Thorns. I will start paying attention so we can talk about it. Since, like you said, they're the best team in Portland. They're the best pro team in Portland. One is struggling after being a champion. The other one is in complete disarray and dysfunction, about to lose their superstar, and hasn't won a championship since 1977. So, all right, I'm hopping on the bandwagon with you. All right, what else we got? What else we got here?
You've got something to discuss. One of the common threads throughout this entire podcast once again came up in the news. Aaron, have a therapy session.
I can't say it. You have to say it.
I have to say it. Okay, Larsa Pippen and Michael Jordan's son Marcus are talking about getting married.
No, that's impossible. That's my Luke Empire Strikes Back learning Vader's his dad scream, which you know nothing about.
I don't. You're right.
Just for new listeners, I'm a Bulls fan. I'm originally from Chicago. I hate it when the players from my former teams that I grew up watching as a kid or teens or early 20s have any kind of beef. Pippen and Jordan have had just minor beefs, mostly with Pippen being ridiculous and jealous. It's just so embarrassing. But now, Michael Jordan's son, Marcus, who is in his, I think he's 30, is he almost 30 or around 30, is dating Larsa Pippen, who's in her 40s, which the age thing I don't care about. Like, to me, age is just a number in most cases.
Yeah.
I do think someone in their 40s, either way, probably shouldn't be dating someone 18, 19. That's just a bit weird, just because 18 and 19-year-olds are extremely immature. But anyway, that's another story. So their age thing doesn't bother me. It's just the fact that it's, one teammate's son dating another teammate's ex-wife.
Larsa Pippen is 49 years old. Marcus Jordan is 32. There you go.
So 17 years. So that means that, Larsa Pippen was around when little Marcus was running around as a toddler. It's just weird. It's just weird. And then they're teammates, and it's just, I don't know. But you know what? If they're truly in love, what are you going to do? Now, Michael Jordan was seen coming out of a restaurant or somewhere, and someone asked him if he approved. He said he didn't. But that's really neither here nor there.
I think he ended up apologizing to them for that.
Did he apologize for that?
Yeah.
But that was his true feelings. I mean, he's not necessarily down for this. But, I mean, he can't complain about the age because he's dating someone way younger or married to someone way younger than him.
Yeah.
Even more so than Larsa compared to Marcus. I just hope it doesn't turn into any kind of serious beef. The bottom line, Pippen and Larsa's relationship got pretty weird there. He, like most NBA stars, went astray in their relationship, and she followed up by pretty much going astray as well and publicly doing so. I think she had a thing with Future. Anyway, so it is what it is. When the wedding goes down, if it goes down, it'll be interesting to see. Well, there's no way Sky would go. Sky's not going. That's ridiculous. Yeah, Sky's not going. I imagine Michael would go.
I would hope so.
That will be heavily covered by all the entertainment and sports tabloid sites.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I may have to go on a extended vacation.
Take some time to process.
Into a therapy camp. to discuss this. Anyway, so yeah, every time something pops, and I see it on Instagram or Twitter, I always DM you and tell you and let you know what I saw.
I mean, you know, we're technically competing against them in the podcast space now, so you know. Sure, that's it. I'm sure the overlap between our listeners and the Larsa Pippen and Marcus Jordan podcast listeners is, I mean, one and the same, pretty much. I'm sure.
Anyway, regardless of my feelings about it, I do wish them well.
And I mean, at least we could say this: it's definitely for real. Like, that was not a publicity stunt sort of situation when we started this however many months ago. Like, this is a real thing. So there's
if they get married, you have to give it credit for it being real. I just want they could parlay this into a reality show if they haven't already. So you know, you can kind of wonder about some of that, but it's gone on for a while. I mean, we'll see. I don't believe they're gonna be married forever. I think it'll run its course. That's just playing the odds.
Yeah, that is
right. That's just playing the odds. At some point, you know, it's gonna play itself out in some direction, and something will happen. So we'll see. Anyway, all right. Enough of that. It's too depressing. You have anything pop culture wise?
No, not really right now.
No.
The girl from Vanderpump Rules that was like, you know, we talked about a lot during a few months ago. She is officially not returning to the show. The girl that was involved in the scandal, she's officially not returning, which I think is for the best.
The few clips I watched, that was psycho stuff.
Yeah, you know, she was like basically in a rehab therapy center for like 3 months or something like that. And the stocks were coming back on the show, and I was just like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, you go into this, you know, therapy center to try to better yourself, and now you're gonna come out of it and immediately go on the show like that. What was all the work for? You know, like, you're just gonna put yourself back into the same position that you're gonna put yourself back in the same situation that got yourself there. Right. So yeah, it's sad for those of us that like some tea, but you know, I would much rather prefer her to be healthy, and I think that's probably the right decision. So, yeah. Anyways, she's not returning, so I guess that show, we'll see if it falls into, because it was like about ready to. It could have been canceled. It was like a season or two away from being in some seriously bad territory. And so we'll see how it goes this next season. We'll see if we have any updates. Hopefully not, for both of our sanities. So, yeah.
So one thing we will get to next week, though, we got to talk big Oregon State football. Yep. Big season's coming up for both. They start next week. Who's Oregon State got to start? I know
San Jose State.
San Jose State. So
on a Sunday.
They both should come out swinging and win their first games. But yeah, we need to start getting on that and paying more attention to those two squads. Nothing would be greater than to have them face off in the Civil War for either a berth into the Pac-12 title or what have you. That would be amazing.
Amazing.
That could be on the line, given all that's gone on. But we will definitely follow it closely throughout the season. But for today, that's it. The Sports by Northwest podcast. Thanks for listening. Please hit the subscribe button. And we'll be back soon. Later.